Have a good day. LA Beast here. And this time of year in February, it reminds me of Valentine's Day. Now, and throughout the years, have I had many Valentines? No. Probably because people used to call me Helmet Head when I was in college. But you know what? One of the fondest Valentine's Day memories was back in 92, 93 in 3rd grade when I received from my classmates this sweet Valentine's Day card. And as I was reading over some of the comments, you're a very nice person from Rebecca. You're nice from Joanna. You're the best friend I've had from Biff. Shout out to you, Biff. Hope you're doing well. But my favorite comment, and I saw this guy the other day after like 30 years, which is mind-blowing to me. John said, and I quote, "I think that Kevin has some of the neatest things." And you know what, John? You're damn right I do. So for this video, to actually give my body a break from consuming ridiculous stuff, even though it's been a mental hell trying to prepare everything for this video, what I'm going to do is share some awesome pop culture, retro, old school eBay pickups that I made in the year 2024 and share the memories with you of all the neatest things that I added to my collection. So let's go back in time. Let's go back in time. Let's go back in time. Alright, we're back in time. Now the first couple of items that I picked up are smaller items that I actually didn't spend a whole lot of money on, but are still pretty damn cool for anybody's collection. Now after doing some further research, the Farley brand has actually been making fruit snacks for a very long time. Now, definitely growing up in the 1990s, I remember the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fruit snacks, these dinosaur fruit snacks, and then there was like a memory that was unlocked as I saw this photo of the Trolls fruit snacks made by Farley. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe in 1998 they also did a promo for the Rugrats movie. Now late last year in 2024, I made a video where I consumed snacks relating to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And my goal, like when it comes to like 90s fruit snacks, they're impossible to find on eBay. So like I was like searching old 90s fruit snacks, and Super Mario Brothers 2 fruit snacks came up, and I was like, oh man, I'd love to add those to my collection, but somebody wants $349 for them. I was able to actually find Mighty Morphin Power Rangers fruit snacks, and then like the next thing, the item that was being sold below that was in fact these sweet circa 1990 to 1993 Michael Jordan Farley's fruit snacks, and I believe I paid $18.57 all in. And for spending less than $20, this is actually an unopened box. There are 10 pouches. This is a value pack, and I feel like the imagery alone is like a great thing to like put on your desk as a collectible. I believe there's some facts about Michael Jordan on the side here, and I would say overall, for $18.57. I think a most recent example sold on eBay for right around $13.99. That box was a little beat up. Like honestly, I'm never going to open this. This sits on my trinket shelf next to my 1992 Olympic glass bottle of Gatorade featuring Michael Jordan. So a solid small pickup. Let's move on to the next. Now the next item of small things that I picked up on eBay in 2024 involves sports cards pickups. And like honestly, are there sports cards out there worth thousands and thousands of dollars? Absolutely. This next sports card I picked up for $15.31. And that would be a 1990 Hoops Sam Vincent card. And it's a PSA graded 8. Now, recent examples of this card in the same graded condition have sold for 15 to 20 bucks. Why would I get a Sam Vincent card? Because if you actually look a little bit closer, they're playing the Chicago Bulls, and number 12 right there, that would be Michael Jordan. And I believe on any sports card featuring Michael Jordan, this is the only one where he's wearing the number 12 jersey. I believe the story behind that, like before the game, I think somebody like stole his jersey from his locker. Yep, this card features Michael Jordan with a goofy face wearing number 12. Now this next sports card I actually purchased on August 24th, 2023 for $58.63. And that would be a 2018 Walmart only holiday winter number 17 Shohei Ohtani rookie. That is a PSA 9. And honestly, like I was looking into buying a Shohei Ohtani rookie. He was like hitting bombs, about to like break the single season home run record, it looked like. And I liked this card because it had snowflakes on it. And I was like, yes, I just secured an Ohtani rookie. Now, and then go figure, the day after I purchased this, he got injured. I think he busted his elbow and he was out for the season. So I was like, oh man, like I just ruined this guy's career. But I am glad that he went on to win the World Series with the Dodgers this past year. Now, and then when I looked at recent sales on eBay for this same card, PSA 9, they sell recently for $55 to $60. So, you know what, it's not like a one-of-one autograph. It's not the most pristine rookie. But you know what, maybe 50 years from now, this could be worth $5,000. Who knows? So solid pickup, Shohei Ohtani, rookie. He's in a class of his own, in my opinion. You know what? I don't even watch baseball. You know what? Next card. Now this last sports card that I'm going to show you, it's not a small item in my opinion. It's actually a pretty rare card, and it all relates back to May of 2024 when I definitely went off the deep end buying back old school WWF wrestling cards. Now specifically, I zoned in on Andre the Giant. And in this little case of Andre the Giant old school cards that I have Andre the Giant from 1974, like 1981, all through the early 80s. And then I started collecting back 1987 Topps WWF card number 2, Andre the Giant in a PSA 9. Because at the time, I think there was only one example of that card graded out perfectly out of 10. And that is until, like, voila. Like, you know what? If you search eBay consistently, you never know what you're going to find. And out of all those old school Andre the Giant cards, in my opinion, I am holding in my hand right now the Mac Daddy, a 1987 Topps WWF Andre the Giant card number 2, PSA 10. There's only 2 of these that exist. I'm holding one of those 2. And you know what? I tried to talk the seller on eBay down. I ended up paying, well, you know what? Because I used my credit card, the bank ended up paying $1,279.50. And then eventually, over time, I paid the bank back. There's only 2 of these in existence. Perfect 10, Andre the Giant 87 Topps. And I'm glad that it is the leading card in my Andre the Giant case. Probably for the past 5 or 6 years now, when it comes to collecting video games, I've been collecting back original Nintendo games, CIB, which means complete in box. So when you'd go to Toys R Us back in the day and like buy the game, that's how I'm buying these back, where it has like the game, the manual, any Nintendo posters. And in 2024, I actually didn't purchase back many Nintendo games, but I did purchase this game. It was released in February of 1989. This is a 36-year-old copy of Friday the 13th CIB. And honestly, like I like the artwork. I've never actually played the game, but the gameplay seems pretty cool. And I paid $113.49. And I believe recent examples of this game CIB on eBay are selling for right around $135. But nonetheless, you know what? Friday the 13th is a cult classic movie. Now, and my favorite part, I actually laughed out loud at the end of the movie. Jason pops up out of the water. I don't know why, but I thought that was hilarious. Cool pickup. Yeah. Now, the second and final video game purchase that I made in 2024, I had no real basis for. As growing up as a kid, I always played Nintendo systems. And I never actually owned a Sega Genesis. But somehow, some way, for $32.45, this game was released on June 23rd, 1991. I purchased an original Sonic the Hedgehog for Sega. Sega! I don't even know if that's what so I have this in my possession. It says not for resale. And after doing further research, I guess, now when this game came out, it actually came with the console. And they didn't want people to separate the two and sell them separately. Now, which is why it says not for resale. I don't have a Sega Genesis to play this. Now, I guess with the popularity of the recent Sonic the Hedgehog movies, not a bad pickup. But I think recent examples currently sell for $35 to $40. And this really just sits on my shelf collecting dust. Now, this next item that I purchased, it's from the year 1994. I bought it for my baby son who was on my shirt. And that would be a 25th year anniversary made by the Applause Company. Mr. Snuffleupagus, aka Snuffy, from Sesame Street. And this is actually going to pair well. A couple of years ago, I purchased a Tickle Me Elmo. For the 1994 holiday season, it was the best-selling toy. The demand outweighed the supply. So like parents were trampling each other over trying to get a Tickle Me Elmo. This scarcity created a shopping frenzy to where 2 women were arrested in Chicago for fighting over a Tickle Me Elmo. A Denver man spent $7,100 on one. Now in Canada, a clerk at a local Walmart was the main recipient of a stampede at Midnight Madness, to where this poor clerk suffered a pulled hamstring, injuries to the back, jaw, knee, received a broken rib, and a concussion. So you know what, but the Tickle Me Elmo in this Snuffy that I have, my son is going to have a heck of a time playing with his stuffed animals, even though he doesn't like stuffed animals yet. And as I was doing further research about Snuffy, he was a puppet on Sesame Street, like a ginormous puppet, and I was like interested to see how it operated. And even though I couldn't find information on that, I found some creepy photos of like Snuffleupagus being stored up in the rafters. As you can see right there, like it looks creepy, like giant things creep me out for some reason. I think that's a phobia. And current examples of Snuffy stuffed animals selling on eBay, they sell for roughly $15 to $20. So you know what, like if I didn't have a baby son, I probably would not have purchased this. This next item I'm going to show you I had in 1993 when I was in 3rd grade. Back when on PBS television, The Magic School Bus, Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego was on TV. There were still pixelated cool images. What I have here in my hand that I paid $23.06 for, made by the Mead Company, is a designer series, Trapper Keeper. The designer series ran from 1988 to 1995 and introduced fashionable, funky, and sometimes psychedelic designs. The company also made a deal with Lisa Frank and licensed cartoon characters like Garfield and Sonic the Hedgehog. And pretty much all this is just a sweet binder to hold all of your classwork and papers. And whoever sold me this gave me a sweet 90s Madonna card there. And just honestly, like looking at this design specifically brings back memories for me. And then as I was doing research just to look up most recent eBay sales, some of the other designer series sell for right around $20. And then like the cooler designs, like some dude was on a skateboard, and the Lisa Frank ones, those sell for right around $80. Nothing crazy, but a cool retro pop culture pickup. The designer series Trapper Keeper. What I'm holding in my hands right here, right now, is a circa 1996 champion NBA basketball Vancouver Grizzlies, This is a Big Country Bryant Reeves basketball jersey. And you know what, if you don't know who Big Country Bryant Reeves is, he was 7 feet tall, 290 pounds, and he was shattering backboards back in the day. Just a large, towering man who played basketball. Then I would say, you know what, every kid in the 1990s definitely had these replica NBA jerseys. And for this replica Big Country Bryant Reeves jersey, I actually paid $111 and I believe 89 cents. And then like I went to see of recent purchases on eBay, and one sold for $39.98 and another for $74.98. So you know what? If you collect these old school NBA basketball jerseys, get on eBay, because they're definitely at a steal of a price in my opinion. And then like my mom and I, we went to the Sports Authority just one random Wednesday night back, probably I would say 1996 or 1997, and they were actually selling authentic NBA jerseys. And I actually picked up this sweet, I think there's like 50-year anniversary. It's got the gold NBA logo. This is a Toronto Raptors Damon Stoudemire jersey. I believe these were like $50 or $75 at the time. Everywhere I go, I went to a New York Yankees game sitting behind home plate where I fell asleep, but everybody always comments on this sweet Raptors jersey. And then I actually have a Michael Jordan number 23 Chicago Bulls. Boom, authentic NBA jersey. And I think like a recent example of this authentic jersey selling on eBay sold for right around $250. Now growing up as a kid, I definitely remember watching the original Ghostbusters movie, and then I believe the second Ghostbusters movie, and I haven't seen any of the newer ones. But in correlation with those first two Ghostbuster movies, there was the real Ghostbusters cartoon, and they made, by Kenner, the real Ghostbusters toy line. And growing up as a kid, I collected all those action figures. And you know what? I actually have a second Ghostbuster firehouse over here, which is holding up my cable box. And late last year in 2024, Ghostbusters was on TV, and I saw Rick Moranis, great actor. He was in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He actually played Louis Tully, this like nerdy guy, and then he gets like possessed by the ghost, and he's like running around New York City, like, where's the key? I'm the key master. And I thought to myself, hey, did Kenner make a Louis Tully action figure? And the answer to that would have to be, yup, because I'm holding it in my hand right here, right now. I believe I paid $74.21. And you know what? The previous owner actually opened up the package, took the action figure out and displayed it on their shelf, and then stapled it back together. So quite possibly that's going to hurt the value. But you know what? I like how Louis Tully can battle the Vapor Ghost with his power pincher. It still has the original KB Toy Store sticker. Honestly, if I was an adult back in the day, for $6.99, I wish I would have purchased all of the Ghostbusters toys, because I'd be a millionaire right now selling everything on eBay. And recent examples of pristine examples of this action figure selling on eBay have sold for $75, right around $90. I'm glad I added this to my collection, Louis Tully, Ghostbusters made by Kenner. And when it comes to consuming expired snacks and food items, I am absolutely no stranger. This last year, it was a total mistake that I consumed expired rancid chocolate bars from the 1980s and 1990s. And I once consumed a bag of 26-year-old Doritos, which actually tasted like rancid cardboard cheese. And what I've actually done recently, for $39.84, I purchased a fresh box of Macho Man Randy Savage Slim Jims, which are 3 times bigger than a regular Slim Jim. And my plan is quite simple. Back in 2014, as I was dressed as Macho Man Randy Savage, I failed to consume an entire box of Slim Jims. So what I plan on doing is saving this for the next 35 years. And when I'm 75 years old, I hope to redeem myself for a YouTube video by eating the whole damn box. And back in 2014, as I was making that Macho Man Slim Jim video, I wanted to get at convenience stores. They had this sweet Macho Man Slim Jim holder. Now, but I didn't have like the $150 or $200 to spend on it, so I never got that. But at the last minute for this specific video, I was like, you know what, just showing this box isn't good enough. For $188.57, boom, I got this sweet 2021 Macho Man Slim Jim holder to go with my box of Savage Slim Jims. And recent examples of one of these things selling on eBay, it is sold from $160 all the way up to $240. You know what? Sure, I paid the money for it, but this is a great addition to anybody's collection who enjoys old school wrestling. And Slim Jims, for that matter. Now, at the end of 2017, I consumed a $400 Hi-C Ecto Cooler juice box, which is very rare. It expired back in 1993, and I drank it down, barfed into a ghost trap, and then I slimed myself as I relived the good old days of my childhood. And because this one, which is unopened and in pretty pristine condition, I'm never going to open it, what I have done for $42.65, I re-upped my supply of old school Hi-C Ecto Coolers. These are from the 2016 reboot Ghostbusters movie. And a recent example of a case of expired 2016 Hi-C Ecto Coolers sold for right around $41. But you know what? When it comes to expired drinks, you never know if you're going to need one for a YouTube video. And you know what? I never know if I'm going to need one for a YouTube video, because probably nobody else needs to drink any expired drinks. And I'm cool, I'm okay with that. And just an honorable drink mention, I actually did not purchase this from eBay, but back in 2015, as part of the Bring Back Crystal Pepsi movement, a bunch of great hardworking people quite possibly badgered PepsiCo until they brought back Crystal Pepsi. And it was in 2015, I got a random phone call from PepsiCo themselves. They're like, we're sending someone over to your house. And I was like, oh man, I didn't know what to expect, but here's that video now, to where I received the first ever re-release 6-pack of Crystal Pepsi. Now, to me personally, that first ever re-release 6-pack is priceless. I would never sell it. Every time I look at any Crystal Pepsi bottle, it reminds me of the journey of working hard together with great people to achieve a great outcome. But on eBay recently, somebody has been asking $3,900 for a 6-pack. I think that's outrageous. That's way too much. And all I did, here's the honorable mention, I finally have encased the first ever re-release 6-pack of Crystal Pepsi. Pretty much all I did, I put it in a case, and now it sits on my, I work at my desk, and then I can look over at my shelf full of drinks. So, you know what, I have to gently, these things are a pain in the ass to put together. I'm going to have to gently bring it and put it back on the shelf now. Honorable mention. And ever since my baby son was born this past April in 2024, sure, you know, like he loves Miss Rachel, watching Miss Rachel here on YouTube. But I've also started to introduce him to some of the cartoons I used to watch as a kid, specifically 1987 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoon. And for me, growing up, I definitely had all the action figures. I had the party wagon. And then as I was watching the cartoon with my son, I realized, hey, I don't have any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff in my collection here today. So what I've done, because having a credit card is it's a great way to build up debt if you don't pay it off. Because I'm a genius, I spent a boatload of money on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff, charged it on the credit card, and hopefully one day it can pay for my son's college education as I'm still paying off the credit card debt. So we're going to start. I'm going to show you the action figures that I purchased back. And when it actually comes to the action figures, I didn't realize the Playmates company started making these action figures in 1988, but like a 1988 version, there's also like a 1991 version, a 1992 version. It's like the same action figure, but different dates. And the original release dated action figures from 1988 are worth the most and sell for the most money. So we're going to go right down the line of my ridiculous, I'm staring at it all beyond the camera here, my ridiculous Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle collection. Now, the very first action figure that I bought was in fact a Splinter, and I spent $69.41. And recent examples of this selling on eBay sold for right around $50 to $52. And what I didn't realize is that this Splinter was packaged in 1990. So like if I got a Splinter from 1988, the original release date, those ones are selling upwards of $200, all the way up to $240 and beyond. Now, as we're moving right down the line, this Leonardo is actually from 1988, but the action figure's head is soft. You could like squeeze the head. And then right next to him is a Raphael from 1988, but his head is like a hard plastic, which you can't squeeze. So there's like so many different variations of these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And all in, for the Leonardo soft head and the Raphael hard-headed action figures from 1988, I spent as a pair $225.22. And currently selling individually, a Leonardo sold for $89 and a 1988 Raphael sold for $127.50. Now for this Michelangelo, this is actually from 1988, the original release date. I spent $101.52, and more recent examples of this selling have sold from $177 all the way up to $190. But the reason why I got this Michelangelo so cheap is that because the box is busted, the bubble with the action figure is all messed up. So this one's like a little damaged, but nonetheless, you know what? The only one I'm missing is a Donatello. But Master Splinter and 3 original 1988 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle action figures, not a bad start. You know what? The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would not be the same without April O'Neil. And this is a 1988 version of April O'Neil. I paid $73.25 for it. And currently on eBay, a 1988 example of April O'Neil is selling for right around $90 to $100. Now, the evil Shredder who was trying to take down the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, he not only had his foot soldiers, but he also had Bebop and Rocksteady. He like mutated them into mutants. And this is actually a 1988 Rocksteady. And I believe the original price at the store, you know what, back in the day for $3.94. In 1988 you could have purchased that. I purchased this 1988 Rocksteady for $167.05. And currently on eBay these are selling for right around $150 to $180. This is actually a 1990 Bebop. And back in the day for $4.99. In 1990, this could have been yours. For me, on eBay here in 2024, I spent $86.31, and a recent example of a 1990 Bebop sold for right around $100. Another cool item that I found for $54.79 was a mutatant Bebop. And like before Shredder mutated him into this warthog, he was like a human being, and he can actually mutate the action figure, which is pretty cool. So I spent $54.79 from 1992, and a recent example sold for right around $51. And who this guy is, his name is Vern, and in the very first episode of the cartoon, Vern is April O'Neil's boss. Who needs April O'Neil's boss? This guy. Let's see here. I paid $79.37, and recent examples of this 1992 Vern selling on eBay, $100 and $120. Next up, we have a 1989 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles party wagon. I guess in the cartoon, they took April O'Neil's news van and like turned it into their headquarters on wheels. And because the person who sold me this packaged it up so nicely, I'm not going to take it out of the box, but I spent $228.06. And recent examples I have sold for $350, $410, $486, and upwards of $500. When it comes to these old school toys, buyer beware, because what my wife got for my baby son for Christmas, it may look like an identical Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle party wagon. Now this party wagon was re-released by the Playmates company, the same company that made the original, in 2021. Boxes kind of look identical at first glance, but on eBay, one of these sells for $35 to $50 on average. And you know what, you can definitely, if you look up close to each box, you can definitely tell the differences. Where like the original 1989 box is a lighter blue in color, there's definitely wear and tear. Now you can see there's like some 80's kid who's like on the front of the box here. And then again, you should always look at the back of the box and try and find a copyright date to make sure that it's an original piece of 90's pop culture toy history before buying. Now the final two Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle items are too big to fit on the table at the same time, but for $239.90 I purchased this ginormous Krang. And for those of you that are unsure who Krang is, neither was I. I totally forgot about this guy. When it comes to the evil Shredder, Krang came through a portal and was like the brainchild to help Shredder defeat the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know what? Back in the day at Walmart, for $13.97, that you could have purchased this. And in pristine conditions, currently on eBay, a Krang sells for $325 all the way up to $550. Now the second item here, when this showed up at the front door, my wife and I were walking inside of the house, and she's like, "What's in the box?" And I definitely had some explaining to do. $218.45. What I purchased is in fact a 1989 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle blimp. And the blimp, let's see here, it blows up to 30 inches long. Like, I don't even need to do the close-up shots of the box because you can see right there, blows up to 30 inches. You can actually see this like 1980s kid on the box, and I would definitely say for a late 1980s toy, it's aggressively large. There's a lot of different accessories, but to save time here, what I've done, because I'm not going to put my mouth on some dirty blow piece from the 1980s, I don't know where this thing came from. This is a blown up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles blimp. Like, this thing is ginormous. And like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would sit on the bottom. They could like shoot missiles and stuff. And even in the toy commercial as they were advertising this, you can see how it's aggressively large. Now current examples of this selling on eBay, the blimp is sold for right around $200. You know what? I touched the blimp and I have like a weird itch on my neck now. So I don't know if that's coming from the blimp or not. You know what? Keep going. It's actually pretty interesting. In the first episode of the cartoon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, there is a scene where like the giant Krang is like walking in the city streets, and then like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles come out of the sky in the blimp. They re-release from the bottom part, and then they like jump onto Krang's shoulder and like go inside Krang. So overall, the one thing I can definitely conclude about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toys from the late 1980s, they're ginormous. So like, if you want to start collecting these things back, make sure you have plenty of storage room. Now, growing up as a kid, I used to watch Pee-wee's Playhouse on Saturday mornings. And Pee-wee Herman, who passed away, rest in peace, he did have his own toy line made in 1988 by the Matchbox Company. And somehow, some way, I have all of those every single last one of them in my collection. But when Paul Reubens, who played Pee-wee Herman, made it big time, created the movie Pee-wee's Big Adventure, in that movie, you can actually see him consuming a box of 1984 made by Quaker Oats Mr. T cereal. And Mr. T was a giant badass who had a lot of gold chains. He was on a television show called The A-Team, and he had his own cereal. But Pee-wee's Big Adventure helped bring notoriety to it. And ever since 2015, I've heard that it's a holy grail to find a full box with a cereal still in it of Mr. T cereal, and like I have not been able to find one. And back in 2021, even though it was not a full box of cereal, a guy's mother passed away, and he was actually selling empty Mr. T cereal boxes. So for $154.34, this is actually a flattened box that I filled with paper towels. This is an original, empty 1984 Mr. T cereal box. So you know what, honestly, this makes a great display piece nonetheless. And recently on eBay, empty Mr. T cereal boxes have been selling anywhere from $130 all the way up to $190 and beyond. Recently, I typed in full Mr. T cereal box and I saw this, the first result that came up. This is a rare, original, full Mr. T cereal box from 1984. It is not a reprint or reproduction. Over time, around 40 years, the adhesive from the top flap has evaporated, which made it a little bit loose. The box is in still good condition, blah, 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 blah. And like, all I saw was the word full Mr. T cereal box. And then I looked down and I was like, how much is this thing? And it said $450 was the asking price. Quite honestly, for something that I have not seen with my own eyes since I started searching in 2015, that's a reasonable price. Before I made any moves, I did a couple things. One of which, I immediately got my original, genuine Mr. T cereal box. And with a magnifying glass, I started comparing the photos online to this box to see if they were similar. And like, things were looking good. But first, I reached out to the seller and I asked, could I ask you how you acquired this box? To find a full box is rare to come by for sure. And the response I got back was, thank you for your interest in my Mr. T cereal box. Yes, the cereal is still inside. I would not recommend eating it. Years ago, 1985 to be exact, I saw this and picked it up at a mom and pop grocery store in Santa Cruz, California. It was odd that this was still on the shelf in 1985. Now, as the cereal is from 1984, not sure when it was discontinued. It is still in nice condition with a few scuff marks. You are correct. I think it is still one of the rarest Mr. T full cereal boxes still remaining. I was like, oh, okay, cool find, and especially for keeping it all these years. I appreciate you getting back to me. And as soon as I said that, I purchased the box of cereal. And then the seller came back at me and they said, oh, I just sold the box to a fellow in New Jersey. And I was like, that fellow would be me. I appreciate the opportunity to add this to my collection. And what I have here, I don't even want to handle this thing anymore. This is a box of genuine 1984 made by Quaker Oats Mr. T cereal. The flap, you can actually see like the flap, the adhesive glue. It is very fragile. But it is still sealed shut. And then as soon as this arrived, what I did, I took this original box and I put it side by side and I started comparing. If you actually look at the bottom of the box, the serial numbers are the same. There's like indented numbers under the serial number. I think at the top of the flap, under where the M is in Mr. T, like here's a letter H, and this one is letter G. This box is a little bit, it seems more pristine. It's like a darker yellow. This is like a worn out, lighter yellow, but I think overall, in my opinion, even though there are like slight differences, I feel that I did in fact purchase an original, genuine, full Mr. T cereal box from 1984. So you know what, even though I'm not going to open up this flap to check to see if the cereal is real or not, I'm going to go ahead and believe that seller's story. Based on my overall comparisons, I'm a proud owner, 99.999%. Of a genuine full box Mr. T cereal. Very, very, very rare. Not many of these things exist. And like I said to the seller, I'm honored to add this to my collection. So I'm going to literally get up, put it back in the glass case, put it on the display, and just look at it. I'm never going to eat it. I eat expired stuff. I'm never going to eat this. Heck yeah. I'm awesome. Now for the final item of things that I picked up on eBay, on December 22nd, 2024, I made a purchase, and this is what it is. It looks just like a little piece of 8x10 paper. I have not opened this, so this is going to be my genuine, authentic thoughts about opening and holding what's inside of this. And inside of this package, it actually relates to the man, the myth, the legend himself, Robert Wadlow. And growing up as a kid reading the Guinness Book of World Records, the world's tallest man, I always remember Robert Wadlow. He was 8 feet 11 3/4 inches tall. Now I believe in like recent medical history, since they started documenting people's heights. Nobody has been taller than Robert Wadlow. Like, his shoe was like the size of this. Like, his walking cane was probably the size of like a lampshade. Like, whenever I do the voiceovers and I use a curse word, I go like this. Hootin'. Hoot, instead of saying like the F word, hootin'. No, and I'm actually imitating Robert Wadlow, like when he was in 6th grade. He's like, "Hey everybody, I'm Robert Wadlow. I'm 7 feet tall, I'm 12 years old, and I'm in 6th grade." So I always like channel my inner Robert Wadlow. Without further ado, let's see what I purchased. Whatever's in here for $450. I'm excited. It's early February. I've waited a long time for this. Oh man. All right. Oh, and I'm looking at it right now. Wow. This is pretty crazy. We got to get some close-up shots. This is a genuine, authentic autograph from the world's tallest man, Robert Wadlow. And oh man, that's crazy. Like, nobody else taller in history has been taller than this guy. He touched this. Oh man. You know, let's read the letter of authenticity. PSA, Professional Sports Authenticator. The certification number is AQ06236. To whom it may concern, PSA/DNA Authentication Services has examined this Robert Wadlow signed photograph. In our opinion, the aforementioned signatures is and are authentic. The signatures is/are consistent considering the slant flow, pen pressure, letter size, and other characteristics that are typically of the other exemplars that we have examined in our hobby and professional career. Now, and I've also done the same thing. Prior to me purchasing this, I looked at another PSA authentic Robert Wadlow autograph, compared them side by side, and it's like pretty identical. Verify the validity of the certification number and exact image at psacard.com/DNA cert, which I did, which is right here, on behalf of the authentication team. So like there. This is the authentication letter. There's the official thing. This says, autographed by tall fella, 1940s. Robert Wadlow actually passed away in the year 1940, so I'm not quite sure when this was signed. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Robert Wadlow, the world's tallest man, 8 feet, 11 inches and 3/4. I'm touching something that the world's tallest man also once touched. Robert Wadlow, the man, the myth, the legend. I'm going to stop touching this. In my opinion, it's definitely a piece of history, but it's also like a weird history, I guess you can say. But I think it's amazing. I think this is actually pretty amazing. Even though it's a little bit beat up, this is a fine example of a Robert Wadlow, world's tallest man autograph. Heck yeah. Let's go. The most recent examples that have been sold on eBay, I paid $450 for this. Somebody else paid $395 for their autograph. And then currently, somebody's asking $1,000 and somebody else asking $699.95. Awesome. Yeah. Yes. Shout out to Robert Wadlow, the world's tallest man.